What's going on, fight fans? It's AC Cooper from Eastwick Boxing UK. As always, Eastwick Boxing UK is in association with ThreeKingsBoxing.com. A shout out to the movement and everybody that's moving with it. So my two guests this evening or this morning, depending on where the hell you are, uh, regular on the show. Seabourn Henderson, Four Corners Boxing Talk. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How y'all guys doing tonight?
I'm a bit pissed off I had to pay for that fight, but other than that, I'm fine.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine paying. Even though it was only 10 pounds, I couldn't imagine paying it.
Yeah, that's £10 I could have spent on something else. I don't know, like fucking
Oh, a
chips and
tenner.
dips
I'm
and shit.
sorry. Over there, it's a tenner.
It's a tenner. Yeah, there you go.
Tenner. Yeah, a
Tenner.
tenner.
Yeah, there we go. Big cool, colossal boxing talk. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I didn't see the fight in its entirety, but I seen enough to know that Callum Smith is not going to be a player at 168 when it comes to the upper echelon guys.
No, and I totally agree. So, Seabone, you probably do this better than anybody else in the business. Break down that fight and what we saw.
I seen. Let me tell you what Calvin Smith is, guys. You'll see guys ask you, "Hey, can you teach me how to box if I don't have no kind of natural ability or anything like that?" That's called paint by numbers system. I can teach anybody the numeric system of the sport. What you should do and stuff like that. And Callum Smith is he's a product of that. Okay, he is what I would call a paint by numbers boxer. He's very fundamentally sound. He's straightforward. He doesn't have a lot of rhythm, and he's not very athletic. You know what I mean? At least you don't see it. He doesn't. And so people's going to say, "Well, he boxed good tonight." Yeah, but you've got to look at who he's boxing against. Okay. Now, Holzken, his footwork is treacherous at best, and he scoots instead of slides or steps. You know what I mean? And he was able to even catch Smith at times. And if Smith don't get some kind of variation on his jab, it's a good jab. It's textbook, but it's the same speed, same jab over and over. He dips a little too much. I mean, Holzken was able to catch him with some rights tonight. If Groves catches him with those same right hands, I don't see Smith going the distance. What I got to do before I really make a solid pick on that finals, though, is I need to check the Groves' offensive footwork. That's going to be a big deal for me because he has no physical advantages over Smith. But if he's got just halfway decent offensive footwork, then I don't see Smith winning this fight.
No, no, and I'd agree. And also the other thing that I picked up on is, well, there's two things mainly. The first one being, and I don't know how important this might be, and this might be why the second reason is he had his nose broken for, or well, at least severely damaged for the second fight in a row. So when he fought Eric Skoglund, that happened early. It happened early in this fight too. Now, what I was about to say is a lot's made about Groves fading in the later rounds. Now, I know a fighter's output isn't going to be the same in round one as it is in round 12, but Smith slows noticeably, hanging off to the ropes, getting hit with shots he shouldn't be hit with. Whether that's a nose issue or not, I don't know, or whether it is a case if he too actually fades down the stretch. I'm not sure. Jarrell, what's your take on that?
I'm not even gonna front like I've been watching Callum Smith fight a lot, so I can't really address too much of his stamina issue. But if indeed it's true, like you're saying, which I don't doubt, your observation, then it'll make for an interesting second half of the fight between him and George Groves, because like you said, Groves tends to gas out as well. But I would tip my hat in favor of Groves just because of the power factor that I think he can carry his power later on into the fight. And in terms of the nose issue, that doesn't bode well for Smith if you continue to to get that nose broken, because eventually the tissue and the cartilage kind of just becomes shitty, and that could affect the longevity of his career. So hopefully that doesn't continue to happen as he moves forward in his career. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see both guys are hurt. So maybe the fight will be pushed back longer to let both guys recover, and then we'll get a fight when they both at their 100% best.
Chris, what's your take on it? Is Callum Smith got stamina issues, or do you think the nose had a big part to play in that? Because I've seen him in other fights against opposition that is European level at best, and he's quite mechanic and he's very laborious. And there's almost sort of only two paces to his work. What do you think?
I believe there's no way to know for sure here. He's never been a guy that had an extreme amount of output. Although today he threw, I mean, I know you're saying he had a little bit of a stamina issue. If I'm not mistaken, he threw damn near 800, 900 punches tonight, didn't he? Somewhere in that general area. That's quite a bit for that weight class. So now, granted, he was doing that against a guy that wasn't throwing even half as many as him. So, and a lot of it was the jab. The majority of it was the jab. Uh, but that could be. I mean, it could be the nose, and it could be a legitimate issue. But I don't think it's a big issue as it is for Groves. Let me say that. Although I don't think it's going to play a factor when they fight.
Okay. Okay. I mean, from my assessment, from what I've seen, it's worrying because in certain fights, I mean, obviously being British, and Smith comes from a fighting family, so we've had a lot of exposure to all of the Smith brothers, and Callum's actually probably the best, in all fairness, in terms of his fundamentals. Um, but equally, I mean, sometimes you can put it all together, like he did against Rocky Fielding. He's probably, I don't think he's ever going to be a super middleweight world champion, but he's definitely sort of on the fringes of world level. And he came out and he blasted that guy away in I think it was a single round or two rounds. I can't remember which.
Styles make fights.
Yeah, well, this is
Styles
it.
make fights.
But but then equally in the next few fights, you're looking at guys that they've literally just almost plucked off of the fucking street. And he looked in fact, he's looked the same in his last 4 or 5 fights. I worry for him. And the point was made by a lot of us that were talking prior to this fight that in terms of Callum Smith against other super middleweights that aren't in England, so your Benavidez's and your Gilberto Ramirez's, that he's not going to stand a fucking hope in hell.
No, I don't like him at all against those guys. I mean, 2K. I mean, Big Cool can touch on it here in a second, but I don't like him at all against those guys. They're way more athletic than he is, way more rhythmic, and when it comes, and they've got the fundamentals to match it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas that guy tonight was more rhythmic. He had more rhythm to his fluid. Let me say this: he was more fluid. Okay, but he didn't have the fundamentals to match up with a Kellen Smith. I mean, I scored the fight. Here we are criticizing Smith, and I scored that fight 120 to 108. You know, but still,
You should do against the opposition that he was in front of.
yeah, exactly. You've got to look at who he's in front of, and when you're looking at a guy that's right there in front of you, and he's had that a couple of times, and he's not been able to take advantage of it. But I know why now after watching this fight. You know what I mean? I do know why now after watching this fight.
It's interesting as I think just before we came on, just how much the landscape has changed from what we predicted before last weekend's action against Groves and against Eubank and now against Callum Smith. I mean, George Groves did what was asked of him essentially, and he stuck to a game plan and he made Eubank Jr. look bad and he exposed Eubank Jr.'s flaws, but Callum Smith's flaws have been exposed tonight as well.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
Callum Smith still beats Chris Eubank, but Groves is a different story now. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, anybody that's fundamentally sound beats Eubank. But like C-Bone was saying, the guys over here in America who are more athletic and more technically and fundamentally sound, and that could, offset his rhythm even more so than the guy he fought this tonight, would definitely have more of an easier task, especially Ramirez, Benavidez, who can not only box but they can punch. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best boxers, but they're better than the guy he fought tonight, and they much more explosive and much more skillful and powerful. So any of those guys land those right hands or straight left and or right hook in Ramirez's case on Smith, it could definitely be night for him because those guys, Benavidez and Ramirez, can crack and they're very accurate. So he's going to have to be able to become more fluid in this movement. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know, man. Like I said, he's older in the game, not too old, but you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And if you don't got the athletic ability, you just don't have it. So he's gonna have to figure out something else to offset these guys when he come over here to fight them.
Okay, we've got just jumped on the show. I've just noticed we've got a co-founder of Three Kings Boxing, Willie the Kid. Now this is your one time and one time only. I will let you be openly critical of my guys over here. Do your worst, sir.
Guys all suck.
Yeah, I'm good. I
So
was expecting something a bit different. I was, ladies and gentlemen. No, in all seriousness, Willie. I mean, Chris has done a pretty good job of breaking down the fight, but we've talked about some of the flaws that were exposed. But what, from your perspective, what did you see?
I saw. Damn. I saw a guy that was a little lazy with his he got caught a few times with a. I didn't really see much of a guy that could really compete at a world level against world elite fighters. I'm not excited about the finals coming up, and I'm really not looking forward to anything more because today's showing it was just like blah. Last week's showing to me was like, okay, yeah, Groves did what he had to do, but I wasn't even overly impressed with him. So I don't think you got. I think it'll go over well over there in your country, but over here it'll be really no buzz to it.
No, I can absolutely see that. So, Willie, given what you've seen from both fighters, and I know you're not high on Groves. I mean, let's be honest, and we've said this on shows previously. The super middleweight division is wide open. Obviously, there are a couple of guys that are probably higher in skill set and athleticism than others. But for me, right now, the super middleweight division is full of B-level fighters, and it's there for the taking. We've all said that before. But given what you've seen from both George Groves and both Callum Smith, how does either man win that fight? Can you make it? Obviously, you've got to. There is a case for both because it's boxing. But what's going to win? What's going to win the final?
Um, well, Groves, all he has to do is stick to his game plan. Uh, although Smith is more technically sound than Junior is, so will Groves still be there at the end of the like will he have the same type of stamina that he did against Eubank at the end of the fight? Because he did hold up for 12 rounds in this one. But you could make a case that a better fighter could have had him fading down the stretch too. So I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought about it that far, man. I'm not even close to even thinking about it. Right now, if I had to pick a person to favor in that fight, I would say it's probably Groves. Probably just
That's
the
what I
better
said.
boxer.
So.
Just the better boxer.
Okay.
Period.
Like I said, I got to look at his offensive footwork. Groves' offensive footwork is going to make it a definite decision for me. But at the moment, I definitely favor Groves.
See, I see early on because both men are well. Their jab is probably their best weapon. I mean, Callum Smith does go to the body very, very well, and I fully expect him to do that against a guy with known stamina issues. But equally, George Groves is the bigger puncher. For me, the worrying thing is that from Groves' perspective, I mean, Callum Smith is used to fighting guys that are smaller than him, and he's done it his whole career. This is, in terms of physicality, it's quite weird to not consider George Groves the bigger man in the fight. Even against guys like Carl Froch, he was physically bigger. Smith's got the height and the reach advantage, and I've never really seen Groves work too well on the inside. So actually, from Callum Smith's perspective, if you can keep him on the end of the jab and pick him off, that it potentially is a not an easy night's work for him, but that at least stacks in his favour. It's. I mean, I've got to be honest. From a British perspective, as you know, it's a fight that will definitely follow. You'd have heard me say it time and time again that the super middleweight division is quite synonymous with Britain. If you look down the stretch with guys like Joe Calzaghe, Steve Collins from Ireland, and Ben and the like, it's just a division that we've seen. I mean, okay, I'm not saying that we've ever had the, but for me, Andre Ward's probably the best super middleweight we've ever seen. Um, but the guys are definitely up there. They're definitely up there. I think this has got all the hallmarks to be a boring fight. I don't think this is going to be too exciting at all, unless Callum Smith puts it on Groves, because Groves has a tendency, as soon as his back are on the ropes, to fire, and that's when, as we saw in the Eubank Junior fight, that could spark something. I must admit, I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not looking forward to it. I think this has got snooze fest written all over it. But equally, I'm going to be there, so I will look forward to it when it comes to it. Um, there we go. There we go. So yeah, there's not a lot really more to say, guys. I mean, I think that
Go ahead.
I think that I think that Smith got exposed tonight. I think that actually, he's probably not even world level. I've got to say it. I've got to be honest. I think he's probably free. Look at what people are doing to me, right? It used to be the Brit Avenger. Grab my cape and I'll defend these guys to the hill. But I can't do it anymore, guys, because in the
I'm not
last
giving
two.
you nothing to defend.
Well, no, this is it. This is it. But there we go. Such is life. Such is life, guys. I want to thank you for coming on. Very quickly, tell these guys where they can find you. I'll start with Drell.
Be cool. Colossal Boxing Talk. Colossal Boxing Talk CBT on YouTube. Colossal CBT on Twitter. Colossal Boxing Talk, the Facebook page. Eastwick Boxing Talk. Eastwick Boxing Talk UK. True Facts About Boxing. Project Boxing Talk. All those guys shows. Four Corners Boxing Talk. Yeah, everywhere under the movement umbrella.
My man Sibo, you've got a nice long list of where people can find you. Why don't you tell everybody?
You can find me at threekingsboxing.com, man. I'm editor in chief there. I got articles there. 90, I mean, the vast majority of the articles there are mine or either yours, actually. Mine or yours. And so you can always find me anywhere the movement is. You can find me here at Eastwick, UK. You can find me on Big Cool Show, Colossal Boxing Talk. You always find me in my brother's place over at Eastwick Boxing. You'll find me at the Prodigy of Boxing with 2K. Shout out to my two co-founders at threekingsboxing.com. That's Willie the Kid and 2K. I don't talk to, but this is an old man up in Chicago. We let him do some stuff here and there. He's a good guy. He's all right. You
Uh,
know what I mean?
Only
He's
if it
got a show
takes his old
called
man,
Truth.
mate.
Yeah, he's got a show called Truth and Facts About Boxing. Nah, Bo's my man, buddy. I'm just giving him a hard time. Good old guy. And then you got the dango four corners boxing talk show. You know what I mean, man? And they be talking about they be getting some good reviews over there, and you call them and join on their show at any time, man. They're every Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I always get on that one. 9 o'clock Eastern every Thursday night. We're running the Four Corners Boxing Talk radio show. Always, like I said, anywhere that the movement umbrella is, I'm in and out of these shows. The one that I'm definitely on all the time is my radio show with Willie the Kid. He's my co-host. And I try to get on y'all shows as much as possible. I think we did 4 or 5 shows in the last couple of days that I've been on, And I'll try to be on
Yeah.
as many more. There's several breakdowns of Sorungvasai and Estrada out there. If you want to jump over to Eastwick UK's got a huge breakdown on it. I think Big Cool's got a breakdown on it. The Prodigy's got a breakdown on it. So, I mean, you can definitely find it. Listen to all of them, man. See if you pick up anything different. So maybe you'll find something in one of them that you feel what you needed to know to solidify your prediction. You know what I mean? And we're just everywhere. If you want to find the news, you go to threekingsboxing.com. That's where it's at.
For those that weren't familiar, probably the British people that are listening to this, for those that weren't familiar with what that accent was all about, that is Chris Boomhauer Henderson, ladies and gentlemen. Check out King of the Hill and you'll find out what we're talking about. Right, that's just about it. It's AC Cooper from Eastwick Boxing UK. You can find me obviously here on my YouTube channel. You can find me at Eastwick Boxing UK on Twitter. Obviously, there's Eastwick Boxing UK Facebook page. I'm in and around all of the channels that have already been mentioned. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, guys.